Hi there, my name is Tia Barnes, and I'm applying for the Senior Marketing Communications Manager job here at Microsoft, located in the United Kingdom. I found this job while browsing our internal job portal, and I think I'd be a really good fit for it. I'm an ideal candidate for this role from my previous experience here at Microsoft. However, that is not to say that this job would not come with some new learning experiences for me. Moving to the UK would be a big shift for me, but it's one that I'm fully prepared for. I just prepared a quick deck for you so you can get to know me a little better and understand my strengths and qualifications for this role. So I'll go ahead and get started. Oh, and if you see me glancing down a bit, I'm just looking at some notes to make sure I touch on all my points for you. I'll start with giving you a little background on myself. I was born and raised in Seattle, Washington. Coffee is practically raining out of the skies here, but I never touch the stuff because caffeine gives me the worst headaches ever in life. Neither of my parents are from the Seattle area. My mom was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and my father is from Gondar, Ethiopia. Gondar is a few hours just outside of the capital, Addis Ababa. Being the daughter of an immigrant has shaped a lot of my worldviews and my values. You know, being American and African is a big part of my life and my self-identity. I have an amazing little Shih Tzu named Pepper, and that's a picture of him on the slide. He's 7 years old and the grumpiest little dog you've ever met. I've had him his whole life, and I can't imagine my life without him. I'm a vegetarian. I decided to stop eating meat as a way to curb some bad college eating habits, and it just stuck with me 5 years later. Traveling is something I do for fun when I have the time. I enjoy taking quick weekend trips in the US as well as international travel as well. So last year I went to Thailand, and then this year in December I'll be going back home to Africa. I love wine. I probably know more about wine than most people my age. My friends and I recently got back from Napa, which is known as wine country, and it definitely blows Seattle's wine scene out of the water, of course, because it's Napa. Nothing helps me relax more after a long day than a much deserved glass of Cab or Merlot. All right, for my education. So I attended Washington State University for my undergraduate degree, and I received my Bachelor's of Arts in Communications with an emphasis in journalism and multimedia production. I'm currently in the process of getting my MBA with the marketing concentration from Southern Oregon University. I truly believe that getting an MBA will help me stay competitive in today's evergreen changing industry. And I think getting an MBA will honestly be helpful no matter what industry I decide to go into. It's a big commitment balancing work and school right now for me, but my education is important to me, so it's something I'm going to always make time for. Since graduating from Washington State, I've had two major jobs. My first job was at Capgemini, also known as Sageti. So pretty much Capgemini Sageti is a company that offers consulting services to a lot of the big tech companies here in Washington. I was so lucky enough to get placed at Microsoft. Their headquarters are located in Redmond near the company. My first project was supporting the volume licensing team through Microsoft Financing or Payment Solutions. As you can imagine, this role was a little difficult for me at first because my background was centered around communications, but I took every opportunity I could to learn in this role. I learned more about Microsoft, the company culture, and a lot about volume licensing. I didn't know it at this time, but learning this would actually be essential for me later in my career. My second role, still with Sageti, was with Microsoft's IT team, also known as CESIT. CESIT needed someone to design and execute a platform for managing their external staff. So they had over 700 external employees, and I managed that. I'd always joke around how they had a vendor managing their staff, but nonetheless, I was able to get things done here. So I had a lot of metrics and KPIs that I had to meet through this role, but I was able to kind of meet with different stakeholders and manage their vendor ecosystem. So due to Microsoft's external staff limitations, I was not able to take on another project after this job. So I was forced to either take a break or look for full-time employment. And I was lucky enough to find that. So I landed my first job at Microsoft in July of 2017. This is currently my role today. So today I work in finance, and I'm the owner of a global program called the Partner Commercial Executive Program, also known as the Global Enterprise Commercial Solutions Program. This program was put in place as a way to help scale the volume licensing business through partners, which is new for me. Essentially, we grant an elite group of partners special privileges that allows them to transact deals like Microsoft employees would. Of course, there are restrictions and limitations because these are Microsoft employees, but in FY19, they touched 15% of the volume licensing business, so not too shabby. And that translates to a nice big chunk of revenue, honestly. So I had no idea that my external roles in Microsoft would honestly put me on a path for landing this job. So I'm really fortunate kind of how things worked out and making those connections to kind of get in where I am today. So moving on to my strengths and why I'm a good candidate for this role. So in my current role, I manage all communications internally and externally. I use tools such as SharePoint, Teams, and Yammer to communicate readiness updates to the partner community. And when sending communications, I always make sure I'm clear, concise, but also try to tell a story too. It's critical for driving for clarity for the community. From my role, I've learned to be very tolerant of ambiguity. There's never been a clear path for my project because it didn't exist before I got here. There was no partner path in place for volume licensing to do what they do today with me. Lots of trial and error and kind of just figuring out what works is how I got things done. I noticed that in your job qualifications, you highlighted wanting someone with a global mindset. So from owning a global program, I know the importance of considering all facets of a program and not just focusing on one geo. I have an extensive knowledge of Microsoft programs and offerings, and that's honestly would be a strength to this role because you talk about being another global program lead, and I have owned a global program at a different scale, and I think that would be a good fit, kind of just to mesh and move on to the next stage in my career. Recently, I took a personality test to learn a little more about my strengths, and I thought I would share the results with you. Essentially, the Myers-Briggs test is a questionnaire that helps people understand the world and the world around them to help make decisions. So I scored as being a performer. This means that I'm optimistic and practical. I know the sky's the limit, but things still got to get done today. So I know how to kind of buckle down and get things done. This has also shown me that I'm a hands-on learner and I do really well in situations with interacting with others. So I noticed that in your job, you said there was going to be high stakeholder interaction and a leadership interaction. And I'm someone that does really well with working with others and interacting. So I think that's another reason why I'd be an ideal fit. Everyone has areas they can improve on. No one likes calling out those areas that they need to work on, but I'm trying to be as transparent with you as possible. So I'm hoping if I get this position, these are the areas we can work on together with you as my manager. The first area is delegation. I've been a leader without authority in my current role, so I kind of find it hard to delegate. I've reviewed techniques to be a better delegator, such as clear job goals and deliverables, but yet I still have a hard time with this. I have no problem letting go. I just worry about my colleagues completing tasks in a timely manner. The second area is global perspective. While I do have a great global mindset, there is room for improvement on my global perspective. Located in the headquarters, I do find myself leaning on the people around me for questions, project or just general program support. I recognize that as a global program owner, I need to lean on my stakeholders globally, not locally. Not just the ones that are in reach because they're in the same time zone as me for my own convenience. You know, with this job being in the UK, it'll be easy to lean on the UK team the most, but I'll be exceptionally mindful that I'm leading a global program and I must seek global perspectives. Work-life balance. What I love about Microsoft is that there's a big emphasis on having a work-life balance. I'm very goal motivated and find myself working a lot of hours, not because I have to, because I need to get things done. This is an area I need to prove on so I don't get burned out. Leadership training. I had external staff reporting to me before, but this would be the first time I had a Microsoft employee actually reporting under me. There would be a little bit of a learning going on there because I've never had that before. So I need to take advantage of all the Microsoft trainings that are available to managers in order to be a great leader for my team, even if it's just a very small team. And I like having a small neural span of control for my first kind of managerial experience. I've been with Microsoft for 4 years in total. So 2 of those years as a full-time employee, and I can honestly say that I'm at the right organization for myself. The emphasis that Microsoft puts on flexibility and narrow spans of control are truly amazing and not something that I take for granted. I prefer to have all communications with my manager be very casual, very informal, and it just makes me more comfortable that way to have a better relationship with my manager. My favorite thing about Microsoft is that I can come how I am every day and be accepted for me. With any hairstyle, any outfit, any feature, any piercing, things like that, Microsoft lets you come and be who you are. And I think that's a really good fit for me. I can't see myself leaving Microsoft anytime soon. And there's a lot of pride I feel when I say I work at Microsoft. What type of employee I am? I'm very motivated by achievement and helping others. I was recently promoted within my role, and for me, it was such an amazing feeling because I feel like all my hard work and sacrifices in the last 2 years were worth it. I'll often ask you about my impact and feedback on how I'm performing because I always want to know how I am doing. When I have asked for feedback in the past from previous managers, I've been told my personality is infectious and that my can-do attitude is refreshing. The attitude stems from being a learn-it-all, not a know-it-all. When I first joined Microsoft, I didn't know how to use Excel. Now I can do VLOOKUPs in my sleep practically. I can learn anything, whether it's through others or from independent research. I think my background and how I ended up in finance is testimony to that. I enjoy helping others. One of Microsoft's core competencies is learning through others. To me, companies that value leveraging others' work and leveraging the work through others is how you kind of build better relationships and bonds with other employees in the workplace. And I love that Microsoft values that because it's something that I truly value as well. That's it. I'm an ideal candidate for this role because my previous experience at Microsoft has set me up for success in this role. I have a lot of the qualifications and characteristics that you highlighted in the job description, and I'm fully capable and ready to move to the UK. I recognize the areas that I might need to spend more time focusing on, and with your help as my manager, I know these are obstacles that I can overcome. My can-do attitude and learn-it-all nature will be very helpful when taking on this new job in the UK, and my global mindset will help me do well in this new country. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to speaking to you more. Thank you.